Hi everyone, welcome to the quiz on comics and graphic novels. There are 7 people in the live stream. Let's wait for a few more people to join. Meanwhile, Krish Raghav is with us. Thanks, Krish Raghav, for taking a time, being on Sunday morning, hosting this quiz. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your efforts. Can you tell us about how you about yourself, plus how you got it started in comics and graphic novels?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a pleasure to make. Thanks for giving me the chance. I hope this strikes the right difficulty because comic books can be a very indulgent medium. So I've been drawing for about maybe 10 to 12 years. I actually started on like the Indian blogosphere doing like webcomics. My brother, who's a slightly more famous blogger, Krish Raghav, used to like help spread the word about my work. And then I kind of branched off. I moved to China in like 2014. And then since then, I've been mostly doing these kind of journalistic comics, mostly set in China about aspects of Chinese culture, usually underground music or work and labor and things like that. It's like journalism, but in comic format is what I do.
Okay.
And that is also the type of comics I tend to gravitate towards and like in my spare time.
Okay, cool. And people who are watching, is the audio clear? Can you please share in the comment section? And also, if you have joined us for the quiz, can you share where you are joining from? Like, let's say you're participating from Bangalore or Chennai or from anywhere else in the world. You can also share that in the comments. Okay, 15 people have joined us in the live stream. Audio is fine, says Hemant Kashyap. Thank you, Hemant. Sumit Kumar says from Bangalore. Thank you, Sumit Kumar, for joining us. Rahul Monty, hi Nambi and Krish Raghav. Audio is super clear. Thank you, Rahul. Rahul has been one of our quiz masters also. He did a food quiz with us. That's been a good success. Thanks, Rahul, for joining. I think we are at about 2 minutes in. Let's go to the next slide so we can explain the rules and format. Krish.
Yeah. Sure. So it's 15 questions in this quiz. There's no negatives, so wild guesses are encouraged. And the questions will have clues. They tend to be a little bit long. Many of them are visual. So the ground rule is usually that the answer is something you will know, and it's a question that's framed in a complicated way. So just think about it, just try and like put it together like a crossword clue, basically. And then explain the format.
Yeah, sure. So there is a small change in the format. Usually we have a Google Forms to answer. This time there is no Google Forms to answer. You can just directly answer in the YouTube live chat. So you're no more shifting between 2 different pages or 2 different devices. And when you are answering, just go ahead and answer. And the first person to get it correct will get 30 points. Second will be 20, and third will be 10. And I'll be discussing with Krish about the answers. We will look at the chat stream later tomorrow, and then share the leaderboard to all the registered people anyway. A few more people have started coming in. Ishwar Mohan from Chennai. Thank you, Ishwar. And Kaushik Burtakur from New Hampshire, 12:30 a.m. Thank you. Thanks a lot. It says a lot that you are interested in comics and graphic novels, that you're joining at that time from New Hampshire. Thank you, everyone. I believe we are 5 minutes in. We can get started, Krish, with the first questions. And I think as people slowly start coming in, they will answer questions. Yeah.
All right. So question 1, this is across 2 slides. In 1980, the creator of comic strips like Beetle Bailey, this guy called Mort Walker, he published a really quirky little book called The Lexicon of Comicana, which is an attempt to kind of categorize, every tiny element of comic book drawing. So he would have all these pages where he explained and created terms for different elements that appeared in comic books and graphic novels. So here, for instance, is Walker's terms for what he called emanata, which are visual representations of invisible properties that emanate from objects. So in this diagram, can someone take a guess as to what a soul rad is? Soul rad is the one on the top right that's blanked out. What is, in comic book illustrations, what is a soul rad?
Okay, Utiro Nath is asking how many questions. There are 15 questions, and this is the first question that Krish just share. Rahul Mohanty says curse words. I don't think. Okay, Utiro Nath says sunrays radiation. Akash Gupta says light emanating from bulbs and other such sources. And we have got only two answers as of now. Sumit Kumar says glow. Yeah, these are the three answers that have come now. Okay, there is one more person. Ruined Star says brightness. Kaushik Bortakur says solar rays. Krish, what is the answer?
I think we can give points to anyone who's used some combination of either light or sun. So the answer is that it's the wavy lines that represent light or warmth emanating from the sun or other light sources. So the glow is almost there, but not quite.
Yeah.
It's more about the light or warmth.
Yeah. In case for people on YouTube, if your quality is not correct, go to the YouTube settings in the video, the three dots, and then you can change it the quality to the highest available. So for this question, Krish, like you shared, people who said sunrays are Ujjwal Kirandas and of course Utiro Nath, and Kaushik Botakur also says solar rays. Probably these two people will get the answers. It's not smoke trails, Ishimon. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, question 2. The name for this graphic novel institution came from combining their original publishing schedule, they were once a magazine, with a 13th century term that referred to the gruesome fate of deplorables in society. What is the name?
Since this might be a tougher question, do you want to give a few more clues?
It's a 3-word answer. It's an institution responsible in many ways for cementing the form of graphic novels as we know it, starting from like the late 80s. Okay, my delivery is here. Sorry, give me 20 seconds.
Sure.
People think.
Yeah. It's not Les Miserables like Utiro Nath and Ishar Mohan is sharing. It's not that. Anyone else with an answer? Feel free to make a guess. There are no negatives for making a guess. So make an educated guess or a wild guess that you want to make. Just.
All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem, Krish. Krish had mentioned that it's.
Do we have any answers?
Some people have mentioned. Okay, Syamantak Sri Krishnan says Dark Horse Comics. I don't think
not
that.
Dark Horse.
Okay. Ishwar Mohan says Les Miserables or Les Miserables. I think people went on the clue of deplorables and
they're responsible for. I guess I can reveal that they're a publishing house now.
Yeah.
They're responsible for publishing the likes of Chris Ware and others who are kind of synonymous with the graphic novel form.
Okay. Kaushik Botakur has something to do with guillotine?
Something to do with what?
Guillotine, the French cutting machine? Or...
Yeah, that's warm. They're thinking along the right lines.
Yeah, Kaushik, you're on the right lines. Probably I'll give you a few more seconds.
Something more gruesome than the guillotine.
Guillotine, okay. More gruesome than the guillotine is probably very less stuff out there. Okay, people find it a bit difficult, this question, I guess. I believe, okay, Utiro Nath says hanged, drawn, quartered. Ujjwal Kiranda says fortnightly flogging. Rahul Murthy says drawn and quartered.
Yeah, I think we can give it to those two. We've made it for quite a while. The answer is Drawn and Quarterly.
Okay.
Which started as a quarterly magazine and has now become kind of the premier publishing house for both kind of established and new graphic novel writers.
Okay.
Cool, nice work.
Yeah, Rahul Mohanty and Sumit Kumar, you got it correct. So good answer on that. Cool. Let's go to the next
question 3. Yeah, question 3. Identify the missing entry in this partial bibliography of a comic book legend. Dash 1991, followed by all of these books and the years they were published, which include The Wild Party, Open Me, I'm a Dog, Jack Cole and Plastic Man, In the Shadow of No Towers, and Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dash. The first dash in 1991 is what you're after.
No guesses as of now. Rahul Monty says Peanuts.
Not Peanuts.
Not Peanuts, yeah. It's a good guess, but wrong. Are the blanks, okay, this is a very quizzily question that people will ask. Are the blanks indicative, meaning is the size of the blank like indicate, is the representation of the length of the word?
Roughly that it is a single word.
Yeah. Luko G says blankets, which is one of my favorite graphic novels, but is that correct? Blankets?
Good guess, but no, not blankets.
Okay, Kaushik
I would involve a book called Habibi.
Yeah. Kaushik Bortakur says mouse. Ruined Star says mouse. Akash Gupta says mouse.
Yeah, Mouse is the correct answer. These are the works of Art Spiegelman, and Mouse was his kind of first full-length graphic novel in 1991. And since then, he's published all of these. And the one right after Breakdowns is actually called Meta Mouse, when he revisited Mouse.
Okay. But I think people haven't read most of his other work. It's only Mouse that it's in graphic novel pantheon. It's a classic book. I read it like 10 years back. I still remember very much reading it.
And he's also a very, Mouse was also a departure for him and his style.
Okay.
And so his other books don't quite have the same tonality of Mouse because it's a much more personal story.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Question 4. The Chinese comic book artist Ran Feifei or Feifei Ran was commissioned in 2019 to depict this iconic science fiction object in a Chinese setting due to the sci-fi franchise's growing popularity in the country. This is what you produced in the next few pages. I want you to identify the object that's redacted from each of these images. Remember, I'm looking for the object. But also I've left the Chinese title of this franchise on the screen. So if you speak Chinese, you'll probably get it immediately. This was the first one. And there's 2 more examples. And here's the other 2. Remember, I want you to identify the object that's redacted.
Okay, Ujjwal Kirandas has made a guess. TARDIS, is it TARDIS? He's asking us. And Hemant Kashyap says Monolith 2001. Rahul Monty says Monolith. Monolith from 2001 is Space Odyssey, says Kaushik Bortakur. TARDIS says Akash Gupta. And basically both TARDIS and Monolith are the popular answers coming in.
Yeah, TARDIS is correct. This is the Chinese advertising campaign for Doctor Who. The Monolith is a good guess in terms of shape, but the question said that it was a franchise, and the BBC was kind of a giveaway as well.
Yeah, so for this question, Ujjwal Kirandas and Akash Gupta and Lukoji get points. Let's go to the next one, Krish.
All right, next question. These are mashups of which 2 iconic animes? One of them happens to be one of the best-selling mangas of all time. I want you to identify both. What does the mashup involve? Both of them are animes.
Okay, Shamantak Srikrishnan says, My Neighbor Totoro, Attack on Titan. Rahul Monty just says it's Clash of Titans. Kaushik Bortakur says Totoro and Attack on Titan. Raj Shankar Maheshwaran says Attack on Titan and My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, a lot of people saying My Neighbor Totoro and Attack on Titan. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's My Neighbor Totoro and Attack on Titan. For those of you who are watching the final season, I would recommend switching to reading the manga because it's far ahead and much better than the current season of the anime.
Okay. And any other graphic novels that you would recommend, Krish Raghav?
Sorry?
Any graphic novels or comics that you would recommend for people who are watching?
Yeah, I would. The one I've been obsessed with recently is the work of a guy called Michael DeForge. That's DeForge. Michael DeForge does these really crazy panel-less drawings, and he has one called The Western World, which is, I think, my favorite comic of the last year. I also really like this comic called Alienation, which is a graphic novel set in the near future where, like, Facebook is your life, and it's like really, really well done.
Got it. Thanks.
Another fun fact about Attack on Titan is that the main antagonist of Attack on Titan was modeled on the wrestler Brock Lesnar. If you Google Brock Lesnar Attack on Titan, you can see quite a funny comparison.
Got it. And I think for Kaushik Bothakur gives an interesting comment. He says he's waiting for chapter 138. And this is for Attack on Titan,
yes.
I believe. Okay.
Hopefully 7th or 8th of March. I'm waiting to.
Cool. Let's move to the next one, Krish.
Okay, next question. In 2005, Dash took a break from the production set for one of his films and visited his regular comic book store. Upon wandering through the aisles, he discovered an obscure 3-part French graphic novel, The Escape, The Explorers, and The Crossing. These are the 3 books. And stuck by its concept, swiftly began reading it nonstop. At the time, the comic book had no English version, but had strangely enough found a translation in Dash's native language. Immediately excited, he gained the rights to the novel, drawn, he says, by the thematic richness of the prose and the goals of the book. It became an acclaimed 2013 film. Who are we talking about? Remember, we want the person's name. Getting the film right is a nice bonus, but points go to the person, to identifying the person.
Yeah, Ishwar Mohan and Ruin Star, what is a person? And Hemant Kashyap, everyone is saying Snowpiercer. We want the name of the person. Ishwar Mohan says Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, Kaushik Bothakur also says Bong Joon-ho. Ashok Iyer, C.R. Naveen says Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, a lot of people are now saying Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. It is Bong Joon-ho, and the film was Snowpiercer, which was his first English language Hollywood production.
So he adapted those 3 graphic novels into a movie?
Yes.
Okay.
The graphic novels are not that good, actually.
Oh, okay.
Having read them in English, the film is significantly better.
Okay. And I was researching about this quiz. I found there are a lot of graphic novels which have been made into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the surprising one that was a question in this quiz at one point is Men in Black was actually started as a very different comic book that then became a film, which took a lot of liberties with the source material.
Cool. Let's move to the next one.
Next question.
Yeah.
In the graphic novel world, who or what connects Jerusalem, Pyongyang, Yangon, and Shenzhen?
And regarding the previous question, Rahul Mohanty has made a comment. The movie being better than the book, like you had shared, the Snowpiercer movie is way better than these graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, for this question, Ishwar Mohan makes a guess and says Guy Delisle. I believe I have pronounced the name correctly. There are no more guesses.
I guess so. I have no idea.
I think this is kind of a tough question.
Guesses?
No more guesses. I believe it's a slightly tougher one. Yeah, Ruined Star also guesses Guy Delisle. And yeah, I think those are the 2 answers as of now. Can you reveal the answer, Krish?
Okay, the answer is these are the books of Guy Delisle or Guy Delisle. His dispatches from different cities that he's lived in.
Yeah. All of them are kind of like travelogues, right? He goes to these places and then kind of narrates the experiences of these places.
I think he's like a film production guy. Like he gets hired by like production firms that want to do screenplays or illustrated screenplays. So he ends up working in like the film industry in a lot of these places.
Yeah. I think I made a mistake on the pronunciation. It's Guy Delisle. So sorry about that.
I think it's Guy Delisle. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Sumit Kumar says,
it's fine.
Yeah, he's an animator or something, says Ishwar Mohan, probably. Maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, cool. Good answer there, Ishwar Mohan and Ruin Star. Only you both got it correct. Let's move to the next one, Krish.
Next question. This is a self-portrait of which famous comic artist? That's not a typo.
The answers are coming in thick and fast for this one, I believe. Rahul Mohanty says Bill Watterson. Kaushik Botaku says Bill Watterson. Yeah, Hemant Kashim says Bill Watterson. Sia Navin says Watterson. A lot of people have guessed it as Bill Watterson.
Yeah, this is a relatively easy question. The answer is Bill Watterson of Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah. Yeah, good answer
Waiting
there.
for those new
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes books.
Mm.
They never arrive.
Rahul, Kaushik, Hemant, Sia Naveen, Abhinav Dasgupta. Good answering there. Let's go to the next one, Krish.
Next question. Complete the sequence. Connaught Place, Kolkata, Greater Harappa, dash.
Waiting for the guesses to come in. Utiro Nath says Tibet. Shamantak Sri Krishnan says JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm not sure of that. Kaushik
Oh,
Bothak.
wow. Deep cut.
Okay.
None of them correct so far.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said there was a third answer?
Yeah, Kaushik Bothak also says Tibet. Ishar Mohan says Jojo was in Calcutta. Sia Naveen says China. He makes it, he says China. Ashok Iyer says Tibet, Tintin comic. Everyone is going down the Tintin route just to kind of.
It's no Tintin Connect. This is very much a Indian, think Indian graphic novel scene.
Yeah. Rahul Mohanty says Garuda. It's not correct. Rahul Mohanty says Nepal, Kathmandu, based on Garuda guess, I guess. People are
the answer is not a country or a city. It's a locality.
Yeah.
If that helps. Yeah. And these are in order, like first, second, third, and then fourth.
Yeah. Just reiterating Krish's clue, Indian graphic novel scene. Rahul Monty says Shangri-La. Utiro Nath says Chinatown. Nobody is getting close to the answer, I guess. Probably we should give it down, narrow it down. North Indian place, right? It's North Indian.
Yeah, North India. It's very close to the first in this list, I guess.
Yeah. It's close to Connaught place, but not that close, I guess. I'm not sure where exactly that is. Okay.
I guess I can give should I give a more obvious?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
So these are the central locations of a series of books by the same author. And I'm asking you to guess the location or the main location of this author's latest book.
Okay, finally, Ishwar Mohan is saying Sarnath Basu. He's getting warmer, I guess. Utiro Nath says Manali, which is wrong. Siana says Shangri-La, which is wrong. Ishwar Mohan, you're on the right track, but we are looking for the name of a place.
The place, yeah. I think this is one of those things where graphic novelists assume everyone has read.
Yeah.
Like these obscure graphic novels.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a fun question, and I would highly recommend all of these books to those who haven't read it. Should we just reveal the answer?
Yeah, we can go ahead and say share the answer.
Okay, so these are the books of Sarnath Banerjee. So the answer is actually Vikas Puri. His first graphic novel, Corridor, was primarily set in booksellers in Connaught Place. And then his next two books, Barn Owl and Calcutta, were set in the kind of alleyways of Calcutta. The Harappa Files was set in the imaginary place of Greater Harappa. And the latest book of his is called All Quiet in Vikas Puri. So the answer is Vikas Puri.
Got it. Yeah, Vikas Puri is the answer that we were looking for, and none of you got it right. Yeah, probably Indians, I mean, I'm just like kind of making a comment here. Indian people read more of foreign graphic novels rather than Indian graphic novels made from Indians or made from India.
Yeah. Sarnath is also very much an acquired taste. I think, I mean, I like his stuff, but you can very easily bounce off his work. For those who've not read any of his books, I would recommend starting with the later ones. I think Harappa Files is probably very good.
Okay.
And then work backwards. Harappa Files, then Barnow, then Corridor. Corridor is very experimental compared to the later works.
Cool. No one got that right. Probably next one people will get it. Let's move to the next one.
Yep. Next question. This Twitter bot creates variations on the name of this popular TV show that was adapted from a comic book series. So it's a TV show, and this Twitter bot creates variations on the name of this TV show. The name of the TV show is the same as the name of the comic. It picks random Wikipedia page titles that match the syllables of the show's name, and it's intended to be sung like the show's theme song. And so some of the names that this bot generated were Ace Ventura Pet Detective, Asian Human Rights Commission, Single Payer Health Insurance, and Women Science Fiction Authors. Which show is this? That this bot is creating random alternate pronunciations for the title of. This is a sign that I've spent too much time on Twitter, and it's very much based on my own Twitter habits.
Okay. Raj Shankar Maheshwaran makes a guess and says TMNT. Rujal Kiran Das says TMNT. Rahul Mohanty, Hemant Kashyap, they are also sharing TNMT.
Yes, the correct answer is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The origin of this Twitter bot was actually an XKCD comic saying that if you have the right syllable stress pattern, you can have any of these names in the same tune as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So talking of Twitter bots, there is one Twitter bot, I forgot the name of the bot. Basically what it does is it picks random, it makes random Jeopardy questions. So it's kind of like you have to make it just like Jeopardy. There are answers and you have to make a question. So stuff like that. It's also an interesting Twitter bot to follow.
Nice. My favorite title for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that this bot tweeted out was "Websites Blocked in Mainland China," which I want to make a T-shirt.
Yeah.
In the same style.
Yeah, which is probably a huge list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this XKCD comic itself has 100.
Ishwar Mohan says there is a joke on this in the latest Dial H for Hero. You have read that, Dial H for Hero?
No, I've not.
Okay, I also haven't read, but yeah, thanks for sharing that, Ishwar. Rahul Monty shares, I knew of a Twitter bot that generates Robert Ludlum titles. Probably that's an interesting one too.
Someone should do a Tom Clancy one as well.
Yeah. Maybe Sydney Sheldon one as well. Yeah, cool. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, next question. Which famous graphic novelist, known for his reporting from crisis zones, was commissioned by French magazine XXI to do a series of comics about rural poverty in India?
Okay.
The comic was called Kushinagar.
Yeah,
was the final product.
Ruined Star was quick to guess. He says Joe Sacco. Ishwar Mohan also says Sacco. Only two guesses as of now. I think we can go ahead and reveal the answer. Krish?
Yes, the answer is Joe Sacco, and I would highly recommend reading Kushinagar. It's very much in his style, and it's an excellent work.
I read the one called Jerusalem, I believe, or Palestine, about the conflict in that region. It was very well, deeply researched, going to their lives and then sharing their lives. Yeah, one of the better graphic novels that I read.
Kusaka actually started, some of his earliest work was doing posters for rock concerts.
Okay.
And he has I think, there's a compilation of his work. I think it's called Notes from a Defeatist, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
But there's a book of his where you can see some of his show posters for rock bands. Yeah. And they're excellent. I wish you would go back and do some more of those.
Yeah, I think he has written a book called Journalism also. I haven't read it. Probably about his style of journalism. Cool. Let's move to the next one.
And
you were sharing
next question.
Yeah, please go ahead and share that.
I was going to say my favorite Joe Sacco book is called It's a book he did with the journalist Chris Hedges about poverty in the US.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a combination novel and graphic novel. It's really, really well done.
Okay.
Days of something, like that. Yeah,
okay. Okay, cool.
All right, next question. This is a slightly elaborate one. I apologize. Today, this comic book panel, this one single panel, is a very iconic internet meme. Its origins are in 1965 in an issue of World's Finest Comics. It was kind of like this big what-if crossover story that involved like multiple superheroes who were like popular at the time. And the panel in question was like a conversation between two characters. The original dialogue, which has been remixed millions of times on the internet now, used to read, person A says, "Don't tell me I'm wrong, you brat. Proving Superman's guilt is my whole mission in life." And person B says, "Your grief has obsessed you with this idea of vengeance. I beg you, give it up." What is the meme? Like a description of the meme will be fine.
Yeah, before you completed the question, almost like 7 people have answered. Ishwar Mohan says Batman slapping Robin. Report, he says, okay, Robin, I think he means Robin. Raj Shankar Maheshwaran says Batman slapping Robin. Ishwar, Luke Koji, same answer. Kaushik Portakur, Hemant Kashyap, Rahul Monti, Ashok Iyer. Everyone says Batman slapping Robin.
Yeah, that's the right answer. It's the Batman slapping Robin meme. I think the original comic involved Superman being the bad guy.
Okay.
In some way. It's like a super weird comic, but it's a good story about how this meme got widespread.
Okay. I think the dialogue box was one which got remixed and made into a million different memes. Okay. Cool. Let's move to the next one.
Okay. Next one. So Claire Ligne or Clear Line was a retrospective name for an iconic style, first coined in 1977 during a resurgence of this method. Its hallmarks included no ink shading, equal focus on the background and foreground, and realistic backgrounds against cartoonish characters. Proponents of this style were known as the Brussels School, and its return to the spotlight eventually influenced the likes of French graphic novelists like Moebius. Which comic was the origin of the style that the term was coined for?
Okay, quite a few answers now, quite a few guesses. Ujjwal Karinda says Tintin, Ruined Star says Tintin, Raj Shankar Maheshwaran says Tintin, C.R. Naveen, Ishwar Mohan, Abhinav Das Gupta, Hemant Kashyap all say Tintin.
Yeah, pretty easy answer. If you know the term, it's Tintin, or The Adventures of Tintin. So Tintin itself only became its full clear line form after the first few. Kind of found its style in the middle portion of the adventures.
Got it.
All right.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, actually, paradoxically, like comics like Asterix were seen as a rebuke to clear line because they had much more kind of messy panel layouts and like much more like motion and a lot of like.
Okay. Which one do you prefer?
Anyway, next question.
Which style do you prefer, the Tintin's one or the Asterix one?
Tintin had a bigger influence on me, but I think Asterix has maybe aged a little bit better.
Okay. Cool.
All right, next question. This is number 14. Titled American Graphic, which uniquely award-winning graphic novelist was profiled in a New Yorker in this way, with a portrait drawn by his friend Chris Ware.
Yeah, for the previous question, people are saying the clear line, that clue was one that probably easily led them to Tintin. They probably got the answer from there. This one might be a toughie. Let's see who gets it right. Ishwar Mohan makes a guess. He says Nick Drasso. So there are no more other guesses. I believe this is slightly a tougher one compared to the previous. This is the penultimate question. There's only one more question in this, so do stay on till the end.
Yeah, this is a slightly bad quiz question in that it's not 100% workoutable.
But that's okay. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to ask for people's names, so you can't do anything. But this is about as famous as graphic novels get outside the graphic novel world. Yes, so the answer is Nick Dernasso, whose book Sabrina was the first graphic novel to win a Booker Prize. Oh, to be listed, long listed for the Booker Prize, not win.
Cool. Before we move to the final question in this quiz, thanks to everyone who has joined us in this quiz. A lot of answers coming in. I know there is other quizzes also happening at this time. Thanks for choosing this quiz, participating in this. And thank you, Krish, for taking your time again and making such a quick quiz. I kind of revamped my interest on comics and graphic novels through this quiz. And we will give us a day. We will correct all the answers and share the leaderboard tomorrow in mails.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun making this. Wish it could be longer, but thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for letting me do this. And yeah, I'm happy to do more and do something longer next time.
Yep.
All right. So should we do the final question?
Yeah.
I actually don't know what the final question is. I forgot the order, so it might be anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll see. Okay, question 15 is, this is a good one. Which rule or test did this comic spark, named after its creator, and used today to evaluate films on a very specific criteria? This is kind of like the one-page comic. I blanked out the stuff that I think will give it away, but it's basically two people walking through a street. You see a bunch of film posters in the background. One person says, I only go to a movie if it satisfies 3 basic requirements. And then she explains the requirements. And the other person says, pretty strict, but a good idea. And the first person replies, no kidding. The last movie I was able to see was Alien.
Okay, lot of answers, lot of guesses. Ishwar Mohan says Bechdel test. Rahul Mohanty says Bechdel test. Eman Kashyap says that. Ruined Star, Shankar Maheshwaran, Lukoji, Utiro Nath, Ashok Iyer. Everyone says Bechdel test, Alison Bechdel.
Yes, this is the Bechdel test, named for Alison Bechdel, which states that a movie should have at least 2 women in it who talk to each other about something besides a man. An Alien passes the test because 2 women talk to each other about the monster.
Cool. Yeah, Rahul Mohanty explains the same rule. Two women talking about anything but a man. Rahul Mohanty has a comment for you. He says, thanks Krish Raghav and Nabi for this quiz. I'm sure I'm going to revisit this quiz again to get some great recommendations on graphic novels and comics. Thank you, Rahul, for the kind words. Yeah, please do see this quiz. It will be on YouTube. You can watch it again. And also, please, Raghav, your quizzes, your comic books, are they available on Amazon?
I don't have any formally published comics. I've done commissions for magazines.
Okay.
So you can find most of them on my Twitter page, at Krish Raghav.
Okay, probably, yeah.
Or if you just search my name and comic, you can read pretty much all of them online.
Got it. Yeah, I think online is a medium for you, I believe. Web graphic novels, kind of.
Yeah. And if anyone is looking for a good comic book to read, I highly recommend Wendy, Master of Art by Walter Scott, which is the funniest book I've read in the last few years. Especially if you're into art or if you know the art world in any way, it makes fun of it in a way that is incredible.
Got it. I was searching for this book. I found there are a lot of books which don't have, like it says, out of stock in India, because these are books probably not bought like widely. Maybe Kindle version is what people can read. Cool. Sumit Kumar says,
Books Depository has free global shipping.
Okay.
Which is and I've bought Books Depository books to India, and it's worked pretty well for me. Okay,
cool. A few more comments. Sumit Kumar says, a comic quiz with only one DC comic question. Bravo. Thank you, Sumit. Abhinav Dasgupta says, +1 to that and beautifully conducted throughout by Krish. Thanks, Abhinav. Thanks for joining us. Yes, very busy quiz. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, CR, Naveen. Ishwar Mohan says, wonderful questions. Krish and Nambi, looking forward to more. Thank you, Ishwar Mohan. We'll be doing more quizzes in the future. Do join us. Ashok Kaya says, thanks for the quiz. Should explore more on graphic novels. Yes, people read a lot of comics, but I think graphic novels is still kind of like maturing. No Raj comics though. Yeah, probably in the next quiz we'll have more Indian comics questions.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, it's funny. I have Mumbai Fables right next to me. So I was
Okay.
trying to frame a question around Doga and the origins of Raj comics, but couldn't find a good question.
Okay, cool. And web
But
comics.
would highly recommend Mumbai Fables for the
Okay.
chapter about the early history of Bombay superheroes.
Oh, nice, cool. I haven't heard of this book. I'll check that out. And someone says no, Amar
It became a very bad movie, basically.
Is it
I think Bombay Velvet was based on
this
Gyan
book?
Prakash's work, but the Bombay Fables book is really good.
Okay, cool. And any web comics and graphic novels that you would recommend? I see a few things like PhD comics and maybe XKCD once in a while. Any web comics?
Yeah, if you like sci-fi, there's one called On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. That's TILLIEWALDEN. I think it became a graphic novel, like a collected volume, but it started as a webcomic.
Okay.
And it's excellent, like just an epic sci-fi space fantasy. Really, really well done, really beautiful drawings.
Okay, I think Ishwar Mohan is a fan of Tilly, so he says Tilly. He probably reads that. And yeah, if people who are watching this quiz want to recommend a graphic novel or comics, please do share in the comments. Uh, yeah, it will be learning for me. There's also other people who are watching this quiz. Yeah, I think that's about it. Just one final question, Krish.
Yeah.
Sumit Kumar says monsters. Probably I think that's good. China is a bit of a censored place. Right? A lot of websites are also firewall. So how do you manage to like publish comics and in that kind of a censored environment?
Yeah, it's very much, I think the biggest misunderstanding that people have is that, yes, it is an extremely censored place, but censorship happens on scale rather than content. And so if I'm sharing my comics with friends or like even like doing a small event with like 50, 100 people, it's usually not a problem and you can get away with anything. And it's only when you're looking at mass scale or kind of mainstream visibility is when everything is off limits. And the large part of my audience is outside of China. So I jump on a VPN, jump the Great Firewall, as they call it, and then publish on platforms like Twitter, which are banned in China. So there's a relative safety in doing that.
Cool.
Actually, I would also want to throw in a recommendation for Chinese comic book artists who are really excellent and do some incredible work. There is a publishing house called Paradise Systems who publish Chinese comics in translation. They do some really, really good work. And there's also a webcomic guy. I guess I don't have chat here. Oh, there's chat. Okay. It's called Washerby. That's W. If you search for Washerby,
Okay, yeah.
On Tumblr, I feel like people in this quiz would really like his work. He does these very surreal, wordless stories that are like, they all have like weird plot twists and like they play with geometry and perspective and all of that. Really, really good stuff.
Cool. I have never heard of it. Yeah, I'll check it out. And if it's available online, it'll be easier for anyone to.
Yeah, it's all on his Tumblr, so
Okay.
you can like just read. It's like a good half a day sinkhole.
Cool. Yeah, since people are closeted in their homes, are like in lockdown and stuff, a lot of online content get consumed. So probably it's a good way to kind of discover new comics, especially from other countries and stuff. Cool. With that, we come to the end of this quiz. Thank you. Thanks again, Krish Raghav, for your time for this interesting questions. Hopefully, we'll catch up soon later. And thanks everyone who joined us in this quiz. Do join us for future quizzes too. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Navi. Thanks everyone. Bye.